How did the tram passengers deal with the disturbance? What happens if a car is left on the lawn? In this video, you'll learn how creatively some punish those who disregard parking rules. I suggest we dive into the daily life of Italian parking. Our hero thought he was the smartest and parked his car in a disabled spot, not considering the consequences. But the local justice crew is not asleep. They know how to punish with creativity here. A guy on a forklift decided to teach our hero a lesson. He carefully lifted his car and placed it in a visible spot. The parking lesson will be well learned. The driver will not only have to pull out his wallet to pay the fine, but also spend a hefty amount on repairs. This is not only a sad example for the driver himself, but also a lesson for everyone who loves to break parking rules. Italians have shown that disabled spots are not just a sign on the pavement, but respect and care for people with disabilities, ignoring the parking lines. Then, be ready for some original revenge. In China, they found a unique and, most importantly, effective method to deal with undisciplined drivers. One driver decided that the rules didn't apply to him and left his car, ignoring the parking lines. The local gang didn't take long to think it over. They decided to teach him a lesson he would remember for a long time. In the end, the offender found his car surrounded by other vehicles and blocked in such a way that the only way to get inside was through the trunk. The driver couldn't figure out how to get into the car and made the only logical decision. It's a funny sight, but it's exactly these measures that can teach drivers to respect the lines and rules. What do you think? Is it a fair punishment? Revenge with plastic wrap. I'll show you the most harmless way to punish someone for improper parking. It's wrapping the car in plastic wrap. This method doesn't damage the vehicle but causes a lot of hassle for the owner. Imagine the shock of the poor parker when he approaches his car and sees it completely wrapped in plastic wrap. It seems like a harmless prank, but removing the wrap is no easy task. It takes at least 10 minutes, and, of course, the owner won't soon forget how important it is to pay attention to where he parks. What do you think of this method of punishment? Bottles of water. Before parking, you should make sure you're not blocking someone's warehouse. Otherwise, you could end up in a pretty unpleasant situation, just like this driver, who parked his car right in front of the water warehouse. I can just imagine the outraged face of the warehouse owner who saw that the door was completely blocked. He had no choice but to place bottles around the car. I think the driver had to work hard to free their car and park it properly. What would you do in the warehouse owner's place? Revenge with fire foam. Sometimes revenge can be very inventive, especially when it comes to parking. Here's a clear example. The owner of an old Volkswagen Passat definitely had a rough time. Why was his car targeted? There are no exact reasons. Maybe he regularly took someone else's parking spot, or maybe he just didn't sit well with the neighbors. But the punishment was harsh and extremely inventive. Someone decided to use construction foam and sealed up everything they could. The hood, doors, trunk. Now it's a mystery how the owner is going to peel off this foam, as the process clearly won't be quick or painless for the car. Not the most pleasant sight, right? I wonder what emotions the owner felt upon discovering such a gift. Artistic revenge. Sometimes neighbors can show real inventiveness in punishing bad parking. In Vladivostok, Russia, an SUV owner unexpectedly faced revenge from neighbors. One day he found his car decorated with a peculiar cocktail of milk and ketchup, and on the hood, the artists left empty cans. Witnesses of the event didn't stay out of it and immediately posted photos on social media. Users recognized the car and started actively discussing the situation. It turned out that this SUV was causing real problems for other drivers. Every day, parking on the turn, it obstructed traffic and made it difficult for cars to pass. Some commentators supported the neighbors, believing that the driver was to blame for such punishment. They noted that now he will definitely think twice before leaving his car in an inconvenient spot again. Others sided with the driver, arguing that such treatment of someone else's property is too much, and these methods of solving problems go beyond normal behavior. Write in the comments, whose side are you on? Railroad tracks. This driver will definitely remember his lesson for a long time. Can you imagine? He parked his car by the railroad tracks. He probably thought everything would be fine. But as soon as the train appeared, the situation got out of control. The locomotive, at full speed, clipped the car, nearly knocking it over. Fortunately, the driver wasn't in the car at that moment. Otherwise, it could have ended much worse. Now, his car is likely beyond repair. But the lesson is learned. Parking near the tracks is a bad idea. Next time, he will definitely pay attention to the distance to the tracks and approaching trains. Or was it just luck? Tram tracks. Parking on tram tracks is strictly prohibited, as well as near them if it interferes with tram movement. But, as practice shows, some car owners ignore this rule. Let me tell you about a case that perfectly illustrates the consequences of such a violation. The owner of a white Lexus left their car by the tram tracks, completely blocking public transport movement. The tram driver didn't dare to move the car themselves, fearing it would get damaged, but the passengers didn't wait. They started to take revenge on the violator. Some kicked the car, others left deep scratches with keys, and one particularly creative person stuck a ticket on the windshield. However, that didn't seem enough, and a group of people simply moved the Lexus off the tracks by hand. What would you have done in the passenger's place? Parking in the yard. When a driver decides to park without a second thought, it can lead to serious repair costs. The driver of the black car decided not to look for a free spot in the yard and just blocked another car's exit. They left for errands, hoping to return quickly, but, as often happens, they got delayed. The owner of the blocked car didn't wait and found a rather original way to solve the problem. They simply moved the violator's car. Now the owner of the black foreign car will definitely have to think about where to park next time. After all, the repairs clearly cost him a pretty penny. What would you do in that situation? Let's keep watching. Ahead are even more original ways to punish for improper parking. A frying pan on the windshield. Sometimes revenge for improper parking goes beyond reason. The desire to punish a driver who parked their car in the wrong place can lead to unexpected and even absurd consequences. Often, avengers choose not the most legal methods. Instead of going to the police, they start creating real chaos. For example, one of the popular methods of revenge is puncturing a car with a crowbar or screwdrivers. And some even decide to stick a frying pan right in the windshield. It seems that these actions might bring joy to the Avengers, but alas, causing damage to someone else's property can lead to serious consequences. Such punishment can not only result in liability but also require compensation for damages. Is revenge worth risking your peace and freedom? The next hero of our video wasn't afraid to block another car's exit. Revenge of the pickup. When the driver of the white car parked behind the pickup, he probably thought it wouldn't cause any problems. But everything went completely off plan, and it definitely made him think about how and where to park. The pickup driver found himself blocked and couldn't get out of his spot, waiting or trying to solve the problem on his own. That's the question, and the pickup driver made a decision. He carefully moved the white car and was able to leave. Just look at that busy road. Cars are driving by non-stop. The situation is quite tense, but the pickup driver managed to handle it. Now, when the owner of the white car returns, a big surprise awaits him. His car is no longer where he left it. Or maybe the driver of the blocked car should have waited. What do you think? A trophy for the best parker. These Avengers definitely deserve an award for their sense of humor. When the driver parked his car on the lawn where the green grass was growing, the locals refused to put up with this nonsense. Instead of calling the police, they decided to get creative. Outraged passers-by wrote messages to the driver, decorating his car with funny signs, and even presented him with a trophy shaped like a toilet for the title of Best Parker of the Year. Improper parking doesn't go unnoticed, and this time, the Avengers proved that sometimes anger isn't enough for punishment. A good mood and a little humor will do. Well, the offender will definitely understand what a lawn is and that it's better not to leave a car on it. Is this fair revenge, or did they go overboard with the creativity? Fire hydrant. Do you think it was worth it for the McLaren driver to block the fire hydrant just to park a couple of meters closer to the store? It seems that wasn't the best decision. The firefighters didn't wait for the unfortunate car owner to return and move his vehicle. After all, the work of firefighters is a serious matter, and people's lives depend on them. Now the driver will think twice about his actions. He has time to reflect while his car is in the shop. Did the firefighters do the right thing? Share your thoughts in the comments. Next, you'll see a few more cases of how not to park. Punishment with stickers. There are drivers who seem to have completely forgotten how to park properly, and the hero of the next story decided that he could just park his car, without even thinking about others. Unlike the other cars parked neatly, his vehicle was parked across the lines. It feels like he skipped geometry class in school, parking his car as if he doesn't know what parallel parking is. Now, because of him, other drivers can't park properly. But this violation didn't go unnoticed. Local activists decided to decorate the lazy driver's car with stickers featuring mocking messages. The entire body of the car was covered in these stickers. Now the driver will have to not only relearn geometry but also spend a long time peeling off the stickers to get the car back in shape. I wonder how long it took to remove all the stickers. Yes, friends, revenge can sometimes take unexpected forms, like using foam or clever messages. Disgruntled citizens can get creative in their fight against parking violators. Each of these cases highlights how important it is to respect public rules and consider the interests of others. Punishing hooligans can be amusing, but sometimes it's necessary to address more serious topics. If you want to share interesting discoveries and create videos that change people's perceptions, we have great news. We're looking for talented individuals who can help us create amazing videos. If you know how to edit, voice videos in different languages, or write creative scripts, we would be happy to work with you. Message our Telegram bot. The link is in the description. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment. What do you think? Are all the ways to punish parking violators justified?